There's a moment every woman faces in her journey, a moment where she stands at the crossroads of loneliness and self-worth. One path tells her to accept what's in front of her, even if it doesn't feel right, even if it doesn't nourish her soul. The other path whispers something harder, something quieter. Wait, hold the line, you deserve more. This is the place where many women settle, not because they don't want more, but because they start believing that maybe more doesn't exist. They're told to stop being too picky, to lower their expectations, to compromise their dreams for the sake of being chosen. So they try, they shrink, they silence their needs, they call inconsistency normal, and they label crumbs as enough, all to avoid being alone. But here's the truth. You were not born to beg for love. You were not put on this earth to convince someone to see your worth. And no matter what you've been through, no matter who broke your heart or made you feel like you're asking for too much, deep down you know one thing. You are not hard to love. The right man will not find you when you are small, desperate, or pretending to be less. The right man finds you when you're standing fully in your truth, when you're glowing in your growth, when you've built a life so beautiful on your own that only a man who adds to it can stay. He will not be intimidated by your power. He will be inspired by it. Settling doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your spirit. It makes you doubt your own intuition. It keeps you in situations where you constantly give and rarely receive. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to remember that there is something better, something real, waiting for you. You don't have to prove your worth by enduring pain. You don't have to lower your standards to be seen. You don't have to rush into a connection just because time is passing. What's meant for you will never require you to become someone you're not. This journey isn't just about finding love. It's about becoming a woman who will never again accept less than she deserves. A woman who knows that the right man will find her, not when she's available at all costs, but when she's aligned with her purpose, her peace, and her power. So in this series, we'll go deep. We'll explore the danger of settling, the truth about timing, the role of healing, and the quiet, fierce beauty of waiting for what's right. Because you don't just want love, you want true love, soul love, aligned love. And that kind of love, it only shows up when you're standing in your highest self. Stop trying to earn love. You deserve it. Naturally, one of the biggest traps women fall into is believing that love has to be earned. That if they just try harder, give more, be quieter, or become less difficult, then finally, he'll stay, he'll change, he'll love. But let's make something clear. Real love is not a performance. It's not a reward for perfection. It's a reflection of alignment. When you try to earn love, you begin to abandon yourself. You start silencing your opinions to keep the peace. You ignore your needs so you don't seem too much. You become someone who is always available, always giving, always showing up for someone who barely meets you halfway. That's not love. That's survival mode, wrapped in fear of being alone. You were not born to convince someone of your worth. You were born worthy. The right man will recognize that without you needing to audition for it. He won't be confused about your value. He won't make you beg for consistency, affection, or commitment. He'll offer those things freely because he respects your essence, not just your appearance. He'll see your strength as beauty, not intimidation. He'll see your independence as an asset, not a threat. This is why it's so important to stop shrinking yourself to fit inside someone else's limited vision. If he doesn't appreciate your full self now, he won't respect it later. And when you settle for someone who only loves the version of you that's convenient for them, you betray the woman you're becoming. Let this be your reminder. Love that's meant for you will not ask you to trade your peace for potential. The right man will meet you where you are, and he'll be proud to stand beside the powerful woman you've become. Stop trying to earn love. Start living like you deserve it, because you do. His uncertainty is not your problem. Walk with clarity. There's a painful truth many women try to ignore. When a man is unsure about you, you start becoming unsure about yourself. You second-guess your worth. You overanalyze every text, every silence, every shift in his tone. But hear this clearly. His confusion is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of his inability to see it. You don't need to keep proving yourself to someone who can't make up his mind. If he's hot one moment and cold the next, if he calls you amazing but won't commit, if he keeps you in limbo while asking for loyalty, he's not confused. He's benefiting from your loyalty without giving you certainty. And that's not love. That's control masked as affection. A man who wants to be with you will act like it. He won't play games. He won't leave you guessing. He won't expect you to wait while he figures things out. Because a man who values you won't risk losing you. Period. You deserve clarity. You deserve to be chosen out loud, not just in private. You deserve consistent actions, not empty promises. The longer you stay in confusion, the more you start adjusting your standards to accommodate his indecision. You settle, you shrink, you hope, but none of that brings you peace. You know what does bring peace? Letting go. Walking away from half-hearted love, reclaiming your clarity. The woman you are becoming cannot thrive in emotional chaos. You are not someone's option. You are not a placeholder until he's ready. When you walk with clarity, you invite respect. You tell the world and yourself that you are not afraid to lose someone who doesn't know how to keep you. And when you do that, you make space for someone who will. Remember, you don't need to wait for him to decide. You get to decide too. And choosing yourself is never the wrong choice. His uncertainty is not your burden to carry. Drop it and move forward with power. Stop chasing potential. Fall in love with reality. One of the biggest traps emotionally intelligent women fall into is falling in love with a man's potential instead of who he actually is. You see the best in him. You believe in what he could become if only he healed, grew, stepped up. And so you stay, you wait, you pour yourself into him, hoping your love will be enough to inspire him to rise. But while you're busy building him up, who's building you? A man's potential is not your responsibility. His growth is not your project. His healing is not your burden to carry. You're not his mother, therapist, or life coach. You're a woman who deserves a partner, not a project. And here's the hard truth. Loving someone's potential while ignoring their reality is just another form of self-abandonment. You tell yourself, he'll get there, but in the meantime, you're tolerating behavior that chips away at your self-worth. You excuse the emotional unavailability, the inconsistency, the lack of effort, because you think he'll eventually be ready. But potential does not pay off in love. Effort does. Presence does. Accountability does. Ask yourself, is this man showing up as the man you need today? Not who he might be someday, but today. Because today is what you're living. Today is what's shaping your emotional health. Today is what's either making you feel cherished or drained. You are not selfish for wanting a man who's ready. You are not wrong for wanting someone who brings stability instead of promises. You are allowed to require emotional maturity, not just dreams of becoming better one day. Let go of the illusion. Look at the reality. What is he doing now? How is he treating you now? That's what matters. When you choose to stop chasing potential, you create room for someone who is already standing in his purpose, someone who doesn't just dream of being a good man, but actually is one who won't require you to shrink, settle, or struggle just to feel seen. Your future isn't built on hope alone, it's built on truth. Choose to see clearly, and you'll walk into love that's rooted in reality, not fantasy. Protecting your peace is the new power. There comes a point in every emotionally intelligent woman's life when she realizes her peace is not up for negotiation, not for a man, not for anyone. The drama, the gaslighting, the hot and cold games that used to pull her in, they no longer excite her, they exhaust her, and she refuses to give anyone access to her life who disrupts the peace she fought so hard to earn. Emotionally intelligent women stop entertaining chaos. They stop chasing after closure, explanations, or the hope that someone will finally treat them right. Because they understand peace isn't something someone else gives you, it's something you choose. Every single day. And that choice begins with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. You get to decide who enters your space and on what terms. You no longer allow people to walk in with dirty feet and leave your soul muddy. You don't pick up every call, respond to every text, or explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You protect your peace by protecting your energy. What you give your attention to, who you share your vulnerability with, and where you allow your heart to rest. And let's be clear, protecting your peace is not weakness. It's not cold-hearted. It's not selfish. It's wisdom. It's maturity. It's the deepest form of self-respect. Because you know the cost of inner chaos. You know how much healing it took to feel calm, grounded, and whole. You refuse to let anyone drag you back into emotional warfare just to keep a connection alive. You've grown past the version of yourself who mistook toxicity for passion. Now you recognize real love doesn't hurt more than it heals. It doesn't leave you confused, anxious, or questioning your worth. Real love is peace. It's soft, it's safe, it's consistent. And until you meet that kind of love, you're willing to wait in solitude rather than suffer in dysfunction. Because emotionally intelligent women don't fear being alone. They fear losing themselves again. So let them call you too much. Let them say you've changed. You have. You've evolved. You've learned to prioritize your peace over their approval. And that is your greatest power. Keep choosing you. Keep protecting your calm. Because once a woman truly understands her worth, she no longer begs for love. She becomes the one it rises to meet. She doesn't beg. She walks away silently. An emotionally intelligent woman does not beg for love. She doesn't plead for attention, loyalty, or respect. Because she knows anything you have to beg for was never yours to begin with. When love becomes a battlefield and conversations turn into constant explanations, she doesn't yell, cry, or threaten. She simply walks away, silently, gracefully, and without looking back. Because silence is her language of strength. When a woman reaches emotional maturity, she realizes her dignity holds more value than any half-hearted relationship. She no longer chases people who can't see her worth. She no longer tries to force someone to choose her. Why? Because she finally understands. If someone truly values you, they won't put you in a position to question it. She used to overgive. She used to compromise until her soul ached. She used to believe that if she just loved harder, showed more patience, gave more chances, maybe they'd finally see her. But those days are gone. That version of her died the moment she realized she doesn't have to shrink herself to be loved. Now she chooses herself. She chooses the quiet over the chaos. She chooses healing over holding on. And if someone treats her like she's replaceable, she lets them find out just how rare she truly was. Because she knows, when a woman who loves deeply leaves in silence, that silence speaks louder than any words ever could. You'll never see her post revenge. You won't catch her explaining her side to people who only want gossip, not truth. She's too wise to be pulled into emotional tug-of-war. She doesn't need closure from the person who broke her. Her peace is her closure. And here's what makes her so powerful. She walks away without burning the bridge. But she also never crosses it again. She focuses on her growth, her healing, her future. She rebuilds her soul with SHI, lends her heart with solitude, and her life with self-respect. Because a woman like her knows the right people don't make you feel invisible. The right love never forces you to abandon yourself to keep it. So, if she walked away from you and didn't say a word, know this: it wasn't because she didn't care. It's because she cared too much, for too long, and finally decided to care for herself instead. That's not weakness, that's a revolution. That's the strength of a woman who will never again settle for crumbs when she deserves the whole table. And when she's gone, her absence doesn't just echo, it teaches. You're not hard to love, you're hard to manipulate. There's a powerful shift that happens when a woman realizes she's not hard to love, she's just hard to manipulate. And that shift changes everything. It changes how you walk, how you speak, how you respond to silence, and how you handle disappointment. It turns heartache into wisdom and rejection into redirection. When a woman knows her worth, she stops bending over backward for bare minimum effort. She stops explaining herself to people who never intended to understand her. She stops trying to earn love and instead starts recognizing the difference between a man who's temporarily intrigued and one who's genuinely invested. One of the most dangerous lies the world tells strong women is that their standards are the problem, that their independence is intimidating, that they're too much. But in truth, those are the very qualities that protect your heart from being handled carelessly. You're not asking for too much when you want consistent communication, mutual respect, emotional intelligence, and maturity. You're not asking for too much when you require someone to show up, not just with words, but with actions. That's not being difficult, that's being aware of your value. The right man, the one meant for you, won't need you to shrink to fit inside his ego. He'll celebrate your strength, he'll admire your confidence, he'll want you to shine even when he's not in the room, because his love won't be rooted in control or convenience. It will be grounded in clarity and commitment. When you don't fall for every excuse, when you don't chase after mixed signals, when you don't lose yourself just to keep someone else interested, you stop being easily accessible to people who never intended to stay. And that's when your real power starts to show. You're not cold, yet you've just stopped setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're not unlovable. You've just started requiring depth over drama. It's not about being guarded. It's about being selective. And there's a big difference. When you heal, when you grow, when you elevate your life and stop tolerating half-hearted love, the wrong ones will fall off naturally. Let them, because you're not hard to love. You're just finally loving yourself enough not to be used, drained, or delayed. And when the right man sees that, he'll rise to meet you where you stand, not ask you to lower your standards just to feel seen. Stay there. Stay firm. Stay focused. You're not difficult. You're divine. You are the prize. Never dim your light for anyone. There comes a time in every empowered woman's journey when she has to make a decision. Will she shrink herself to fit into someone else's comfort zone, or will she continue to grow into the fullness of who she truly is? This is that moment. Because the truth is, when you know your worth, When you walk in your power, when you lead with your heart and strength, you become the prize. And the right man won't just notice, he'll step up. A high-value woman doesn't audition for love. She doesn't chase attention or compromise her dignity to feel wanted. She knows that her time, energy, and love are precious, and anyone who wants a place in her life must earn it, not by being perfect, but by being consistent, honest, and aligned with her values. She's not afraid to walk away from what's not meant for her, because she understands that peace is far more valuable than temporary companionship. When you settle, you teach the world how to treat you. You signal to others and to yourself that you are willing to accept less than you deserve. But when you raise your standards, when you refuse to be anyone's second choice or backup plan, something powerful happens. You filter out the wrong energy and begin attracting people who respect, admire, and value your presence. That's why you must never dim your light to make someone else feel comfortable. If your strength intimidates them, let them go. If your confidence is too much, they're not the one. The right man will be drawn to your light, not scared of it. He won't try to change or contain you. He'll celebrate your growth, support your ambition, and love you exactly as you are. It's easy to feel like you have to be less to be loved more. Society tells women to be softer, quieter, more agreeable. But the truth is, your authenticity is your power. The more you embrace who you are, the more magnetic you become. Not just to others, but to yourself. You start loving your own reflection. You begin walking into rooms with a presence that can't be ignored. And here's what happens when you hold that energy. The wrong ones fall away and the right one comes forward. Not to fix you, not to complete you, but to walk beside you. He doesn't take away your independence. He respects it. He doesn't compete with your glow. He reflects it. That kind of connection doesn't come when you chase it. It finds you when you're living your truth. So keep rising, keep glowing, keep building your life with strength, purpose, and joy. Don't pause your growth waiting to be noticed. Be so deeply fulfilled that love becomes a beautiful addition, not a desperate need. That's when the right man shows up. That's when everything aligns. And that's when you'll realize you never had to settle. You just had to keep becoming. You are not behind. You're becoming the woman he prayed for. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind when people around you seem to be pairing off, getting married, or starting families. Society puts timelines on love like it's something you're supposed to schedule. But the truth is, real love doesn't follow a clock. Real love aligns with your growth, your healing, and your personal journey. The right man isn't looking for someone who's rushing to check boxes. He's looking for the woman who's taken her time to become whole, strong, and authentic. You are not behind. You are in the process of becoming. Every moment you spend building your life, discovering your passions, setting boundaries, and healing your wounds is a moment that brings you closer to the right man. Not just any man, the right man. The one who will recognize your value not because you're perfect, but because you've done the inner work to love yourself. He won't be intimidated by your standards. He'll respect them. He won't make you feel like you're too much. He'll feel lucky to have found someone who knows her worth. You won't have to beg him to understand you. He'll want to understand because he'll care. And you'll finally understand why it didn't work with anyone else, because they weren't supposed to. What you're doing now, learning, growing, forgiving, letting go, and focusing on your future is not a waste of time. It's divine preparation. Every tear you've cried over the wrong one is watering the garden for the right one to grow in. Every moment you chose peace over chaos, self-love over temporary comfort, and boundaries over begging, that's the kind of woman he's been praying for. He's not looking for someone who is desperate to be loved. He's looking for a woman who already knows she is. And that woman is you, not the version of you that's trying to be everything for everyone. The real you, the you that's finding her voice, walking in her power, and no longer tolerating less than she deserves. This is not a race. This is a journey. Love isn't about being the first to get there. It's about being ready when it does. When you meet him, you'll be proud that you waited. You'll be grateful you didn't settle, and he'll thank you for becoming the woman you are now, the one who chose to rise rather than chase. So breathe. You're not late. You're not missing out. You're becoming the woman who doesn't need to search for love, because love will recognize her the moment it sees her. And the right man, he'll be exactly on time. You've walked through every chapter of this journey, one filled with strength, growth, patience, and unwavering self-respect. If there's one truth you must carry with you now and always, it's this. You were never meant to chase love. You were born to receive it in your fullness. When you live in your truth, when you rise into the woman you were always meant to be, the right man will see you, honor you, and choose you, not because you're convenient, but because you're rare. It's easy to feel like time is slipping away. Like maybe if you give a little more, shrink a little further, bend just enough, someone will finally stay. But real love doesn't require you to shrink. It demands that you rise. It wants your voice, your power, your purpose. The man who is meant for you will never feel threatened by your shine. He'll be drawn to it, inspired by it. He'll match it with his own. So don't settle. Not out of loneliness, not from fear, not because people around you are coupling up or starting families. Your journey is not a race. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be, becoming exactly who you were designed to be. And the longer you wait to truly know yourself, the more prepared you'll be to recognize someone who deserves access to the world you've built. The right man will not come to complete you. He will come to complement you. He will be whole already. He will have done his own healing, fought his own battles, and when he meets you, he won't see you as someone to fix, change, or save. He'll see you as an equal, as someone to build with, to learn from, to love deeply with no fear of your depth. But you only attract that kind of man when you live like that kind of woman. So stay patient, stay powerful. Keep building a life so rich that it doesn't depend on anyone else to feel fulfilled. The right one will walk in when you're not looking, because you won't be wise. 18, you'll be living, never settle, because the real one, he'll find you when you're standing tall, not when you're bending low. He'll find you when you're thriving, not when you're chasing. He'll find you at your best, and he'll love you there. Let him meet you in your light, not in your longing,